to the bucket, layup, Johnson, good!
All right, welcome everybody here to Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, Pelican Sports TV, and of course on Cox Cable, seeing of over 2 million households around the New Orleans area, 89% of the metro watching this program. Also, of course, here in Baton Rouge, almost 400,000, and in the Lafayette area, over 140,000, plus we're Morgan City and parts of Livingston Parish as well. We're seen 5 times a week, all right here on this same channel that you're watching us right here. All right, so big weekend to talk about. We have the LSU Lady Tiger gymnastic team winning the national championship. What was unbelievable, their very first national championship. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about LSU baseball. We'll talk about the Pelicans. They played, of course, last night in the NBA playoffs. And my predictions of SEC football, what can happen this year in the SEC in 2024 for the SEC football schedule. But right now, we've got a big special guest on the line, and she definitely deserves it. Let's show that banner up there. This is Beth Torina, her banner from LSU. Win number 527, the most wins in program history. There it is. She joins us on the show, the all-time winningest coach of LSU, Coach Beth Torina. Thanks for joining us on the program. Congratulations on your big accomplishment.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being with you today.
Coach, do you remember your first win at LSU?
The first one? Man, probably, yeah. I remember a lot of them along the way. There's been a lot of really special ones, a lot of fun ones, and man, there's been some amazing women that have worn the purple and gold and won those games for us, hasn't there?
That's right, exactly right. It was Penn State, February 11th, 2012. That was 4,452 days ago.
Wow.
Yep.
That's quite a journey, isn't it?
Big time. And you said, I'm very happy for the win. You won 1-0, by the way, in 8 innings over Penn State. And you said at that time, I'm very happy with this first win. Hopefully the rest won't be as difficult. And the players presented you with a puzzle box for your first victory.
That's awesome. Well, guess what? They have been as difficult. They've probably been harder. And they have been well fought and well earned. And honestly, it's been an incredible journey. So cool, too, to think about the women that wore the colors, the people that have been by my side the whole way, Quinlan, Howard, who's been my assistant, every step of it. So it's been a really cool journey.
13th season overall at LSU, 17th overall in your total coaching year, 527 wins, 229 losses at LSU. Overall, you won 656 games of your career. Coach, you're 45 years old. At 656 games, that's pretty impressive.
You're really throwing it out there for me today, huh?
Did I throw a curveball?
You're telling me I'm old without telling me I'm old. I like it. I think you're trying to tell me I'm young. So
you are young. I mean, 45 years old. For 526 wins in one program, that's impressive. And I'll even give you this. Let you simmer on this. You're one of 5 coaches at LSU that have won over 500 games. Skip Burtman with 870, Paul Maneri 641, Harry Ravenhorst 569, and Yvette Girard at 526. You're in those big 5 categories. When you think about that, when you Skip Burtman, Paul Maneri, Harry Ravenhorst, and Yvette Girard, are you kidding me? You're an unbelievable recognition name.
There's no question. And, I got a lot of messages from a lot of my favorite people on Saturday. And the last one I returned, though, was Coach Girard. And Paul Maneri and Skip Burtman also text me, too. What an amazing thing to be in a sentence with those guys. But Coach Girard was the last one I returned because I wanted to say the right thing. And what I came up with is it will forever be the house that she built, and we're just living in it. I think she did so much for softball in the state of Louisiana. She is softball in the state of Louisiana. So to even be considered in the same sentence with her is an incredible honor.
Well, you're there too, Coach. There it is. There's the jersey. Wins at LSU, 527. You had that jersey presented to you right on the field of the Tennessee Volunteers, and your 1-0 victory in that one was a pitching duel for sure. All 3 games this weekend was pitching duel, but look at that beautiful 527, the official jersey at LSU. I know that's going to go up in your office big time, right?
Yes, for sure. That was I told Quinlan, who of course thinks of everything and had that jersey made. I'm like, this is my first LSU jersey. Actually, this is my first one. So, and it's definitely one for the record books, right? It's one that you definitely want to keep. So it's a pretty good one for my first one.
No question about that. Coach, back in 2011, let's go back. Then athletic director Joe Oliva was in charge. How did that process work? When you got that phone call when you were at Florida International, how did that phone call happen when you got that phone call, hey, you want to come to LSU?
Well, first thing I remember when Patrick Murphy got the job, and the whole softball community was just floored, right? So we all thought the LSU job was off the table, I think. So it was actually Miriam Seeger that called me, who is still our sport oversight now. I'm very thankful for her and thankful for Joe and the opportunity. He also sent me a message too, congratulating me, and I just told him I hope I proved you right. I know he took a chance on me. I know they both did, but I hope our staff has proved them right. And that they picked the right person for the job all those years ago.
Yeah, well, they obviously did. There's no question about that. Coach, like we mentioned, you're 45 years old. You still got a lot of life in front of you. You're still very young. Yvette Ward talked about the reason that she retired from LSU. She still loved coaching and developing players, but the problem was recruiting, the traveling part. Does that ever get tiring for you, or do you still enjoy that part?
I think it's great. It is the lifeblood of what we do. She's not wrong. Like, it is, the most important thing we do is getting the right players in our system and in our program. And, now it's kind of fun. My kids are old enough. They can sometimes take the trips with us, or, they understand the job a little bit more. When they were young, it was harder. I think it's actually getting probably a little easier for me at this point to, be away and have them kind of take care of themselves a little bit. So she's 100% right, though. That is the lifeblood of what we do.
Now, the NIL and the transfer portal even made it worse. It wasn't around when she was around. Are you adapting to that well? I know transfer portal, you use that. It could go against you. It could go for you. You've used it in your favor. You've got some very good transfers, Oklahoma State, all kinds of areas all across the nation you've gotten players. So do you feel the transfer portal has helped you a lot?
It has. And, I think it's something that we haven't really, made a mainstay in our program, but we've gone to it when we needed it, and we've filled voids when we needed it. And, the transfers we have playing right now for us with Hannah Carson, Kelly Lynch, Carly Petty, these guys have been huge contributors to our program, and, have had roles right when they walked in the door to fill a void for us, and they've done a great job. So we're very thankful for them, but it has opened up an entire new way of doing business. Now we have visits all summer long with the portal. We're trying to find NIL money. It's a whole new thing that we're, having to deal with in the coaching world.
Well, all right, so I talked about how great you are on the field and coaching and what have you. You're pitching, of course, a professional because you pitched at Florida. You are one of the big pitchers at Florida Gators, so you are right on when the pitching. You handle the pitching duties at LSU. You always have. But let's talk about how classy you are. Every single time we've asked you to be on, not only this show, but when I was on 100.7 The Tiger, you were there. Also, when I got to throw the first pitch out, I didn't kill anybody. That's the good news. But let me show you how classy you are this past weekend. My sister from Memphis, Tennessee, is one of your biggest fans, and the teams. She loves this team right here, this team that you currently have right now for LSU. She loves this team. She lives in Memphis, Tennessee, but she drove, her and her husband, my brother-in-law, drove to Knoxville, Tennessee, and was sitting in the orange seats almost behind home plate, so she was around a lot of Tennessee Volunteer fans. She had all of her LSU purple and gold on. She was cheering, go Tigers and what have you. They looked at her for a little bit, but after that they were all right. Here's some pictures of her and you right now. You took a picture with her, first of all, and she had a softball. You signed that softball. You kind of were shocked that you wanted her to sign it. You to sign it. You signed the softball, Coach. Then also number 88, Sierra Briggs signed it. 55, Gutierrez signed it. Of course, Pleasance, number 17, signed it. This is a picture of her with Gutierrez telling her, you are my favorite hitter and you are the big hitter on this softball team. She's excited. She's jumping up and down. Coach, she said you and your entire staff were absolutely so classy. It was unbelievable. They were so nice to everybody that was around. Coach, thank you for representing LSU and the state of Louisiana as great as you do.
Oh, thank you. That's such a nice story. I will tell you, this team we have is really special. And I know you watch what they do on the softball field, but we rarely leave a hotel, restaurant, airplane, bus without getting a comment about how respectful and nice and classy this group is. And that's not always the case, but these guys are really, really special. They just have it all together. They're not just elite softball players, but they're elite teammates, elite workers, elite human beings. And that's why I just want it to go so right for them, because they've just made so many great decisions in their time here. And they just deserve all the best things.
Right. I went to a symposium that the great Bobby Bowden did, Florida State, and I know you know who that is. Great football coach at Florida State, and he told me, he said, first things he come to me and said, Chris, I'll tell you a couple of things. If you think today's athletes are the same like they used to be, that just want to get up and play, you're crazy. You have to motivate them. There's so much distractions with game systems, with social media and what have you. But he also said this: I don't care if a player is great on the field and his stats are great, everything's great. If he didn't have good character, he's not going to play for my football team. He's not a kind of a player that I want on my football team, because that could eventually spread a disease around that locker room to where it's just basically you lose the locker room. That's how you do that. So Bobby Bowden always told me that person has to have good character, and that person has to obviously be a good athlete to play on my football team.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think your job just becomes so much easier when you have the right people in place. In this group that we have, there's 8 seniors. I mean, they've just been the right people from day one. Like I said, you've never had to ask them to work or to get their stuff done in the classroom or to treat people with respect. They've been a factor in this community. I mean, that's why you know their names. That's why, your people are loving Taylor Pleasant and Raylene and Sierra. That's the right people to love, because they've done it the right way.
Well, Coach, like I said, so next time we talk, you'll be on your way to, let's say, to Oklahoma City to play in the Women's College Championship, the World Series, if I can get it out right. You're going to be playing in that. We'll call you on your way there, and then we'll call you back when you win the championship. How about that? You've got a talented team. I know you're going to make this team big. They're going to be big. They've had some great – you were leading in the RPI going into that Tennessee game. You were at number 6, and hopefully that will continue to go. And you continue to make your way on to Auburn for the SEC tournament, then the NCAA tournament, and then the Super Regionals. Right now, you would be hosting the Super Regionals at least, so hopefully everything will go your way. We know you'll turn it around, Coach. We're proud of you. Congratulations on your big accomplishment, and keep it going. We can't wait to talk to you for another 527 wins later down the line.
You got it. I'll be on. You just tell me when. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you, Coach. Again, my sister was absolute. I got a phone call. She wouldn't get off the phone for an hour talking how that experience, how fun it was, the chance you guys had in the in the dugout, all of the experience, the home run that won the game, meeting y'all and everything like that. She talked to me for an hour. Liz Gillette. Ledesma. I better say that right, because that's her married name. She'll kill her. My brother-in-law will kill me. But thank you again, Coach, for all you do. You're great for LSU.
You got it. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Appreciate you.
All right. Head coach Beth Torina right there. Unbelievable, classy person. And thanks for spending time with us today. When we come back, big story here. This weekend, LSU finally does it. The national championship, another national title for LSU. We'll talk about that when we come back right after this timeout. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and start to party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian. LSU Lady Tigers. Like I said, classy person. She is awesome, and great to see LSU. 527 wins in her career. LSU lost the series this week with Tennessee over in Knoxville. It was a very tough match. 3-0 was the final score of that third game with that, but hopefully LSU will turn it around. I think they will. They've got a great team on paper, but that always win championships, but I think if anyone can do it, she can. All right, well, speaking of national championships, congratulations to LSU and the Lady Tiger gymnastics teams. There it is right there, the national champion banner right there. How about this? 39 NCAA tournament appearances, 7 Super 6 appearances, 3 4-on-the-floor appearances, and finally a national championship. Congratulations. So they have what they have, it's not rounds, it's rotations, and they had 4 rotations on. They started with the floor, then they go to the vault, then they go to the poles, and then they end with the balance beam. Are you kidding me? That's the toughest of them all, and that was really putting their backs up against the wall and shows how deep this team is, and it was unbelievable. And Sierra Ballard started it off. She got a 9.9500, so everything was off and running in that final rotation for LSU, and everyone, okay. Savannah Schoner worked so hard all season long. She's been a great contributor to LSU's gymnastics. She fell off the beam. And when you do that, the next player to come back, it's tough because you're going to hear the oohs and ahs. And when you're on a balance beam, I couldn't even imagine it. Are you kidding me? Alan, can you imagine being on a balance beam? If my life depended on it, there's no way I could have balanced myself on that beam. Are you kidding me? Well, Savannah fell off, so here comes Connor McLean. She has to come through. So does she come through or what? After fall like that, it's very difficult because you got to pick your team and your player up. Yeah, she just scores a 9.9625, which is the highest the whole day on the balance beams. The highest. Kia Johnson had to keep it going. She does. She scores a 9.9500. So the last one, Ali Finnegan, has to score a 9.83 or more to win. No pressure, right? She brings it on. In fact, she does so great of a job, she brings home the leftovers, a 9.9500. And they started jumping up and down. They knew they had it won. Coach Jay had to tell them, hey, calm down, hold on, it's not over yet. We're not over yet, but yet it was. He didn't realize they put on the TV that they were the national champions. Jonathan, did you get a chance to watch any of that?
So I actually was at a baseball tournament. Saw the highlights. Want to mention Connor McLean, freshman, pops up after the fall in 9.96. Incredible. I mean, 9.965. As a freshman to have that kind of ice in your veins, I mean, the future bright for Coach Jay Clark. Right. Got to be so happy for Coach who really paid his dues, sat behind a legend in Coach Dee Bro, who has to be so excited for those young women. Another title, as you know, Chris, we're in the 50s now at LSU.
Unbelievable.
Doing well.
Yeah, unbelievable. And it just keeps going. Dee Brew was in the crowd. She was in the crowd over at Fort Worth. She was the architect of this program, and Jay said that in his press conference. She pushed for this facility, our beautiful state-of-the-art facility they've got right behind the PMAC. Coach Jay Clark praised her for bringing him over from Georgia. He said he needed a job. He needed a job when he left Georgia, and he needed a job, and he came. Dee Bro hired him. Then when Dee Bro finally retired, he took over after that, and the rest is history. And like you said, Jonathan, let's show that banner. LSU now has 52 national titles, and these are official national titles because Auburn years ago, and so did UFC. That's right, UCF, University of Central Florida. They won the national championship. Southern Cal in 2003, but UCF too said they won the national title. They got the rings and everything. I said, what, in the Ville Platte Gazette? Who gave you the national title? Come on. Are you kidding me? The Turkey Creek Tribune? Get out of here with that crap. Are you kidding me? So the thing is, 52 is the official. LSU does it right. Look, they got LSU as a 1935 national champion in basketball, but LSU does not recognize that they won the national title back then. They didn't have the national tournament, the NCAA tournament. So they don't recognize the national title back in 1935. So with that, 52 national titles, which leads the SEC for now. Arkansas has 50. Florida has 47 and is gaining fast. And Texas, when they come in next year, they're going to take over. They have 57 national championships. 57. So 52 national titles, a lot of that track and field. Jonathan, I know you got to be proud for that. You just, you bragged about that big over 50. LSU at 52 national championships from all the teams. That's what I'm saying. Alabama could sit here. When somebody comes to me, I was in Talladega. I was in the pit for Talladega. It was so cool to be in pit row to watch all of those guys coming through. It was back in 2003, I think it was. 2002, I think it was. So anyway, they're all in and they're coming in, and I had an Alabama fan had an LSU hat on. An Alabama fan said, "Hey, Chris," or he didn't know who I was. He said, "Hey, bud, so screw LSU." He did a middle finger and kind of said something else and all that stuff. And a buddy of mine knows that I'll fight King Kong if I'm feeling good enough. I got off of that truck. I went over in his face and said, "You know what? At least we can watch our national championships on DVD. You guys watch yours on freaking reel to reel." And he looked at me like he wanted to fight me and said, "Ain't gonna go like you think it is, brother." We can eat gator bait. Let's go. My family needs gator bait at their swamps over in Ville Platte, Evangeline Parish. Let's go. But anyway, so after they won all those national championships, you know what I say now? Hey, at least we compete in all of our titles. We have 52 national titles. What do you guys got? You got football. Okay, I know that's the king of the horse, but we compete in every deal. And Jonathan, I don't know this for a long time, and Alan, I don't know if you knew that, but did you know that the state of Louisiana produces more per capita pro players in football, basketball, and baseball? All three major pro sports, we produce more pro athletes in any state. That is incredible when you think about that. That is pretty incredible. Also, we've had number one draft picks now in just about every sport. What is it? Football, basketball, men's, women's, baseball, and is there another one? I think that's it. So there's the four major sports right there that has number one picks. And LSU in the SEC is the only team to do that. There's no other team in the SEC to do that. So we're definitely all around. And I think there's not a pro gymnastics. I think she's going to go to obviously she's going to the Olympics, but I think you're going to have a lot of these gymnastics from LSU going to the Olympics here very soon. I think that's just a key.
Well, the Lady Tigers continue to prove with the national championship with lady basketball last season, and now Jay Clark and done in gymnastics. LSU is not just a football school, not just a basketball school, not just a baseball school. They get it done in all sports, and really it's a big draw for any athlete, especially a Louisiana athlete, to stay home, compete at your flagship program, and compete for championships.
No question about that. What is this, Mike? Like sixth show? What, 3 or 4 of those 6 shows we said, can LSU make the NCAA tournament in baseball? We'll find out when we come back as we're talking sports right here with me, Chris Powers, as we continue right here on Pelican Sports TV, which is on Cox Cable. Back in a moment. We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the natty package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
in this segment about LSU baseball, Southern baseball, and also the New Orleans Pelicans. And later on, Jonathan and Alan, I know Marty will be on my side, but Jonathan and Alan are going to probably have me committed in my last segment that's going to be like, are you kidding me? Wait a minute. What? But I'm going to explain it. Jonathan's going to be my across the we're going to be in a courtroom, and he's going to be the I don't know, he'll be the prosecutor or he'll be the defender, one of the two. I guess I'll be the defender, he'll be the prosecutor, but we're going to go back and forth and why I think that this is going to happen, so that ought to be great. All right, so LSU plays against Missouri this weekend. They won their very first series of the season. Let's show some of the highlights right here. LSU and Missouri this past weekend. This is from game 2 that we're going to show you. LSU now is 25-16 overall and 5-13 of the SEC. Well, Baton Rouge Advocate and New Orleans Advocate writer Cokie Riley wrote in his column this weekend that LSU can still make the NCAA tournament. LSU has 12 conference games left on this year's schedule. Can they do it? He thinks that if LSU can win 10 of those remaining games, that they would be 15-15 and they can do it. All right, so this is me talking. All right, let's say LSU does win those 10 games of the SEC, and they have 3 non-conference games left. Just 3. That means their overall record will be 38-18 on the season. 38-18. Now, that would put them at 15-15, would probably put them in the SEC tournament, and if they go deep, then maybe they've got a shot at an at-large bid. But let's remind you about the 2022 Ole Miss Rebels. The 2022 Ole Miss Rebels, they were 32-21 going into the SEC tournament and lost their very first game. They just knew they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament. They were the last team to get in the NCAA tournament. So they got an at-large bid and then went on a 10-1 record. 10-1, say that fast. 10-1 run. There you go. 10 wins, 1 loss, to win their very first national championship in baseball. So you can get on a streak, and if anyone can, LSU has got the better team that Ole Miss did then. LSU's loaded. But the question is, can they put it together? Do they have enough momentum going in and confidence that they can win these rest of these out? Now, they got to still play number 1 Texas A&M, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the rest of their SEC slate is going to be against non-ranked opponents unless they start winning here soon. But they do play number 1 Texas A&M, so that's going to be tough when they play them. LSU has the team to do it. They, like I said, by winning over the Missouri Tigers, that can propel them in that right direction and head in that situation, and hopefully it will. Because LSU, I'd hate to see them not make the NCAA tournament. They have made the NCAA tournament every year since 2011, except, of course, for 2020 when COVID was canceled. Would cancel the baseball season, canceled basketball and canceled baseball and softball and all those other summer sports, spring and summer sports. So with that being said, that LSU still can possibly win and go on to play for the national championship. Now, I believe Super Regional's out. I also believe NCAA tournament is out. Hosting. I believe a Super Regional hosting obviously is out. Unless they were to beat a number 7 or 1 through 8 team, and they were beat one of those. Well, no, they still can't because they would be, yeah. Let's say they make an NCAA, tournament, and they beat the 7th ranked team. Still, they still probably won't do it. So again, NCAA tournament and Super Regional hosting will probably be gone. They won't make that. They won't do that. But they still have a chance if they go deep in the SEC tournament and they win those 10 games, they can still win, of course, and go on to the NCAA tournament and SEC tournament. But the first step is first to win every game, is to win as many games as you possibly can. And second step, they got to win 10 of their last 12 games. They got 12 games left. They got to win 10 of their last 12 games. So if they can do that, they still have an opportunity to go on to the SEC tournament at 15-15 and go on to the NCAA tournament if they make a deep run from there and whatever we go from there. The Southern Jaguars were on a big run. They beat LSU this year, and they don't have a high RPI because they haven't played a lot of good teams and beat a lot of good teams, but they had momentum going on their side. They were tied for first place with Texas Southern last weekend, so they played Dillard in Baton Rouge on Tuesday, and they beat Dillard 12-1, so momentum was definitely on their side. Then they go on over to Houston to play the Houston Cougars on Wednesday in a midweek game. The Cougars beat them 25-0. 25-0 was the final score. So then they played Texas Southern for the right for number 1 in the SWAC West. They played 4 games because the makeup game that was supposed to be here in Baton Rouge, Texas Southern beat them 4 straight games. So right now, Southern drops in the West majorly. They're still going to make the tournament. They've got to turn it around because they got to go back to Houston. They got to play Prairie View A&M this weekend at Prairie View A&M before they come back to Baton Rouge to play against Alcorn State, which is going to be in the first week of May. So with that, not good, but the Southern University Jaguars, they got to turn it around. They got a young baseball team. We said that. They got 19 new players they had to go out and get on this team. So they had to get a lot of new players on this team. So hopefully things will happen in the right way. They'll get back going in the right direction, and they'll do a good job. All right, last night the New Orleans Pelicans lost. Well, first of all, the New Orleans Pelicans played against, obviously, Oklahoma City, and Allen, I had to hear it from Gary Hale all freaking game. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Of all teams, we had to play Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, the New Orleans Pelicans lost to the Lakers last week, and in the process, they also lost Zion Williamson. He went with a hamstring injury. He made 70 games this year. He played in the most games ever that he's played in his career, and he gets a hamstring injury in the play-in game. Oh, my God. And they're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks. The season could be over in 2 weeks. I'm like, are you kidding me? And he scored 40 points in that ball game. He was unstoppable. The big story came out, and we have to watch this, that Brandon Ingram was benched the whole fourth quarter of that game. Now, word is Brandon left the arena ticked off big time. Throwing things around. He was upset about it. It's not been official, but we have several people, the media was there. They put it on their social media sites. He was mad. But Coach Willie Green thought the best thing for them is to leave the bench players, and that's their best chance. And that was Ingram's first game back. He was turning the ball over. He didn't have any points. So that's why they thought that was the way to do it. Now, he did respond against the Kings on Friday, snapping a 6-game home losing skid. They lost 6 games at home in the Smoothie King, the blender, whoever you want to call it. But they finally broke that streak. They hit good from everywhere. So last night they played the OKC Thunder in Game 1 of the playoffs. They hung tough. I got to give it to them. They hung tough the whole game. When the Thunder would get up by 9 or 10 points, they came right back, and it was just, oh, my goodness. They had so many chances in the last 2 minutes to put the game away, but turned the ball over several times in that stretch and made boneheaded plays. And let's go to the highlights right now. Let's show you the last 2 minutes of this game right here. And this was definitely absolutely aggravating. Here's the Pelicans right now. The Pelicans will tie the game up with this shot, bam. So we're tied at 90. All right, expected. So the Pelicans were up by 2. We had so many opportunities to go up by 4. Then look at this blocked shot right here. Man, Chet Holmgren is unbelievable. He's 7'2", blocked that big shot right there. So here come the Thunder again down, and it was loud in that arena last night as we're getting down to scores 35 seconds, 34 seconds. Here's the shot, put them ahead by 2, 92-90. So we're looking good, right? So what in the heck do they do? Oh, so here's a free throw, makes it 93-92. They're up by 3 points at this time. We call a timeout. Here come the Pelicans. Look at this off-balance fadeaway shot from the baseline. Bam, McCollum nails it in. It's a 1-point ball game. So here we come down, and here's a foul. We had a couple of fouls to give, but now here's a foul on Chet Holmgren. He will go to the free throw line. He's not a good free throw shooter, and McCollum is guilty of that foul. So here comes Holmgren. He takes his first shot, missed it. Bam, good shot. Now he's got one more. If he makes this one, it's a 2-point ball game, and of course, New Orleans has a chance to tie the game or win it with a 3. But Holmgren takes his time, and the fans absolutely nervous with this. There's the shot. Bam, he makes it. So it's a 2-point ball game. Of course, they call a timeout. That means they get it on their side of the court. So watch McCollum right here. McCollum did not play it well at all. Look at this. He goes down that side, lost the ball. He loses the ball a lot. Now all of a sudden he's trapped. He takes a leaping leaner, and he missed it at the buzzer. And New Orleans loses the ball game, 94-92, game 1. The one thing I noticed about this, and you tell me, they tried so many desperation threes. Jonathan, you know what killed me is they tried so many desperation threes like they were down by 3 points.
Right, and Chris, I got to shout out Larry Nance Jr. with a Herculean effort, like almost single-handedly willed the Pelicans back into the game in that third quarter. They were down by 12, but he was just making all the offensive rebounds, putbacks, setting screens, doing the dirty work. Larry Nance Jr. has been a very good pickup for the Pelicans. With that being said, the other big man that is on the floor for the Pelicans, how many point-blank putbacks does Valanciunas miss every single game? I mean, he has 3-4 attempts at the rim and then gets fouled, makes one of two. When you lose by 2 points in a playoff game, you look at all those missed opportunities. And look, Willie Green had his team fighting, and you mentioned Brandon Ingram getting benched, had a very poor game shooting. I thought Dort
5 for 17.
Very good job defending him. And if he has just a decent game, the Pelicans win handedly in OKC.
And if Zion Williams is playing.
Don't have Zion, which is a big blow, not only for the talent on the team, but the mentality of your confidence going into a game on the road in the playoffs against the number 1 seed. To not have one of your best players, it takes something away from your confidence, no doubt. But the team battled. You mentioned they fell behind, kept fighting back. Chet Holmgren, who's going to be a very good NBA player, was kind of limited against the Pelicans. Look, the OKC Thunder are much deeper, in my opinion, than the Pelicans across the board. They have 5 guys they could bring in. Willie Green plays about 8, and it's going to be a tough matchup. We knew it, 1 versus 8, but look, you have to be encouraged by the output the Pelicans had last night, being so close in the first game. When you knew you were going to get the best shot from the Thunder, their crowd was absolutely into it. They want to make a finals appearance. They're the number 1 seed, and you took that best shot right in the chin. You fought back.
Yeah, and they had 6 days off. They had 6 days off, the Thunder did. But one thing, all right, Jonathan, this is what I do when people ask me who they think is the best player between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I say, first of all, it's you can't compare it. It's a different era back in the day with the NBA where the bad boys, the Detroit Pistons, you could foul anybody, get mugged downtown. If you would hit it downtown, you would get mugged and you'd be in jail, what they did on the NBA court. It was a different beast. But one of the things I look at towards the end of a game, who do I want to have the basketball in their hand? Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Michael Jordan every single time, 10 out of 10 times. So what my point is on this, I don't think the Pelicans have that go-to player on their team. I don't think McCollum's that player. I don't think Ingram's that player. They need a player that they can turn to with 10 seconds left, and they let it get down to 6 seconds, and they take who is that player that's going to take that last shot? That shot McCollum. And McCollum, I think, needs to be a 2 guard. He is turning the ball over way too much as a point guard. So who is that guy that can take that last shot?
I agree with everything you said. I don't think the Pelicans do have that one guy that they want in that position every time it comes up. It's really, who's going to be open for the shot in their system offense. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, if he was available, those are like your main 2 options. But, yeah, C.J. McCollum, you have to give him credit. He hasn't been a point guard his entire career. He played with Dame Lillard, one of the best point guards of our generation out in Portland. Was really comfortable in that 2 guard, but knew he'd have to handle the ball more for the Pelicans. Jose Alvarado does a great job when he comes off the bench. He's not a scorer, let's just say that. No. He can catch the open 3 in transition. He'll shoot the open 3 and make it, but he's not a dribble drive, pick and pop kind of point guard.
And tried to drive in front of 2 6'7", 6'8" guys last night. Are you kidding? You can't drive against them, man. They double-teamed him and got him out. Now, the one thing I noticed about Brandon Ingram, and again, I love Brandon, he takes some contested shots and makes them from the right side or in front of the goal. But notice when he gets on the left side, it's like a right-handed quarterback running to the right side trying to throw a pass down the field. It's awkward for him to do it. Brandon Ingram is not very good on the left side of the basketball goal. I noticed that last night, and I've noticed that in the few games that I've watched him, all the games I've watched him since he's been here. I still love him to death, hope he stays. I love McCollum to death, hope McCollum stays and what have you. And Anderson, there's a lot of players on this team, when they get going, Murphy the third is what I wanted to say. Murphy the third, when he gets hitting on that outside 3-point shot, he can hit it, but when he's off, he's off. I just, and look, hard to believe, how crazy is this, Jonathan, that this New Orleans Pelicans basketball team has the number 1 record on the road in the NBA. So I knew this would be a tough game. I'm glad it was a tough game. Game 2 is not till Wednesday. Are you kidding me? I don't know who that – I mean, that gives an opportunity for the Pelicans to rest up because they played on Friday. But for the Thunder, who hadn't played in 6 games, that really hurts them a lot. So Game 2 is not till Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. It'll be on TNT. Game 3 in New Orleans. In New Orleans. And I'm going to tell you what, if you've never been to a playoff game, I've had several friends of mine tell me that it's unbelievable. I'm calling a friend of mine this week, see if I can score some tickets to the game. It's a very fun atmosphere. New Orleans is a great city to host a playoff game. That'll be Saturday, and that'll be a 2:30 p.m. game, and also it'll be on TNT. So you'll be able to watch that. All the games for the rest of the time now are on national TV. You'll be able to watch all of them through out the rest of the playoffs. So hopefully the Pelicans, if they can steal one on the road, Jonathan, they do that crazy deal. You get it confused with baseball and basketball, but they do that crazy thing. So they got 2 games in Oklahoma City, 2 games in New Orleans. Then they go back to Oklahoma City for 1 game. If New Orleans or whoever wins, they go back to New Orleans for another game, and then back to Oklahoma City for the 7th game. It's one of those crazy deals that they do. But anyway, hopefully New Orleans can steal one on the road. All right. So, Jonathan and Alan, you've always wanted to commit me. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that when we return right here as we give you what I think can happen in the SEC for football when we return right after this timeout. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, on this day. It's a Monday, and it's the week of the 22nd of April already. Can you believe that? We're seeing, of course, in the New Orleans area, Baton Rouge, and in Lafayette, as well as Morgan City and parts of Livingston Parish, 5 times a week, Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 11 and 7 p.m. That's 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Fridays at 9 p.m. and 8:30 on Saturday night. And we're seeing in almost 2 million households. All right, Alan, you and I have known each other for, 120 years? Marty, you've known me for a number of years now. Jonathan, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now. Alan has always wanted to be committed. He's going to get his opportunity possibly here today, but I don't think so. I'm going to show you what I'm thinking of this. This is spring football. You know, spring football's over, and the transfer portal is open all the way until April 30th. So here is my predictions. Now, no one would have predicted 2019 LSU wins the national championship. Nobody in the world predicted that, period. Nobody knew anything that was special, and maybe until that Texas game where we won at Texas on the road. That's what Ed Ogeron said. That is the thing that got their team going when they said, hey, we can win these kind of tough environmental games. So let's get this. This is what can happen after spring drills are over. Summer workouts will begin soon. These are SEC games only. This is the way I think that can finish in the SEC. So here we go. All right, SEC spring football. Here we go. Tied for 15th, I think it's going to be the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 0-8. I think this team will be the bottom for at least another season. They've had 3 coaches in 3 seasons. Sounds like the AD is not solid to me. Tied with them at 15th will be the Vanderbilt Commodores. 0-8, I think they'll finish. This would be the 3rd time they've gone winless in 4 seasons for head coach Clark Lee. Tied for them at 13th will be the Arkansas Razorbacks at 1-7. This will be the final straw for head coach Sam Pittman. LSU will win in Fayetteville this year as well, 1-7. Tied for them at 13th will be the South Carolina Gamecocks. LSU goes to South Carolina. I think they'll be 1-7. Their only win of the SEC will come when they face Vanderbilt. Tied for 11th. Next in the order will be the Kentucky Wildcats at 3-5. They dropped a few steps. The first half of the season is tough when they played Georgia, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. They finished 3-5. Tied with them at the 11th place spot, it's the Florida Gators. 3-5. Gator fans not giving head coach Billy Napier a chance. He can do no right with their team. Now tied for the 8th place spot, right after the Florida Gators will be the Texas A&M Aggies, 4-4. New head coach Mike Elko will take time, but the Jimbo Fisher era will put this program back for a couple of years, or the amount of money they have to pay him in his buyout. Tied for them in the 8th place spot, the Oklahoma Sooners at 4-4. First year in the SEC, and they have a tough schedule, including coming to Tiger Stadium for the first time ever. Tied with them, people are going to go crazy with this. Here we go. Alabama Crimson Tide. I got them going 4-4. Their first SEC game against Georgia in Tuscaloosa this year. They will lose at LSU. They'll lose at Oklahoma and Tennessee. Quarterback Milroe will keep them close in most games, though, and they will still win the Iron Bowl. I have them in Tuscaloosa this year, but Alabama 8-8. Tied with 6th is Missouri Tigers at 5-3. They lost defensive coordinator Baker to LSU along with good DBs. They also lost their running back Schrader, but quarterback Brady Cook is back, though, and that's why I say they're going to be 5-3 on the year. Tied with them at 6th place will be the other Tigers, Auburn. Auburn at 5-3. I think Freeze is building something nice here, but it'll take another year or two. He is a great recruiter. 5-3. Tied for 4th place, I think, will be the Tennessee Volunteers. There we go. Tennessee 6-2. Only losses this year will be in the SEC game 1 against Oklahoma in Norman. It'll be their first game ever in the SEC for Oklahoma. Then Georgia on November 16th at Athens. They're going to lose that game. They'll beat Alabama in Knoxville for the 2nd year in a row. Tied for 4th with them will be Ole Miss. 6-2. Only losses for Kiffin will be at LSU and at home against Georgia. With the gambler in Kiffin, he'll blow at least 2 games. I think Kiffin goes on too many 4th downs and other crazy things. He gambles too much. That's why he's not a championship-style coach. So they'll be tied for 4th at 6-2. So that leaves us the top 3 SEC teams. All right. Big drum roll, Marty. Here we go. 3rd place all by themselves, the Georgia Bulldogs, 7-1. They'll be stacked. They'll win on the road except for one. When they travel to Texas October 19th to play the Longhorns in the closest game this season, it's going to be the game of the year. Texas is the closest to their roster. This could be a game of the year. Only the chance that Texas might have to lose that game is they play Oklahoma the week before. It could be a very emotional game in the Red River rivalry. At the number tied for 1st place will be in the SEC. Are you ready? Jonathan, already I hear oohs and ahs. Get ready. It's Texas Longhorns at 8-0. Texas has a tough schedule, but most of the tough games are at home. Oklahoma's in Dallas, and Texas A&M is over there in College Station as our hardest games on the road. Just as good as a roster as Georgia, but Coach Sark has been known not to win the big games with the exception of winning at Alabama last season. I think they have 2 big quarterbacks in Ewers and, of course, Arch Manning, who played very good in the spring game this past weekend. Arch Manning looks good, so if Ewers are going down, Arch Manning could step up. And tied for 1st place with the Texas Longhorns. Everyone's going to call me a homer on this, but here we go. It is going to be LSU Tigers, 8-0. The Tigers' toughest game will be at home as well. Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Florida will be tricky on the road, and that's what I think is going to happen, what can happen in the SEC spring. And I know that people are looking at this, and I know Jonathan's got a big grin on his face. We're going to break it down right here. So here's a recap of the SEC football, how I think they can finish. Vanderbilt obviously tied for 15th. There's Florida Gators. There's A&M at tied for 8th. Top 7 will be number 6, Auburn, with Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Look at Georgia, the only team not to finish tied with anybody, and LSU and Texas in the SEC championship. And I have the Texas Longhorns winning the SEC championship game. All right, so here we go, Jonathan. Let's put up the LSU football schedule now, and we're gonna go point for point, and I'm gonna show you why I think LSU can finish 8-0 on the season in the SEC. So here is the LSU football schedule. All right, Southern California, they'll play that in Vegas. That's not an SEC game, but I finally got them winning over the hump and winning that game. Then on September 7th, they play against Nicholls State. This will be the last team in the state of Louisiana that they haven't played. After they play Nicholls State, they were supposed to play in 2020 here at Tiger Stadium, but because of COVID, they only played, of course, SEC games, so Nicholls State was taken off the schedule. They go to South Carolina on September 14th. I have them winning that game. Then they play UCLA. Jonathan, can you imagine that? UCLA for the first time in Tiger Stadium. Are you kidding me? The Bruins. Obviously, Chip Kelly's gone. I think LSU is going to be able to win that game against UCLA. Then we play South Alabama to win. Now, the big game, October 12th, Ole Miss. So, Jonathan, this game, okay, LSU has a bad defense. It's not the players. So we have good players. LSU barely loses that game against Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi. Now, again, we had Jaden Daniels, I understand. I do think LSU's offense will be down maybe one notch. One notch. Do you think we cannot beat the Ole Miss Rebels here at Tiger Stadium?
I don't want to be down in the dumps, Debbie Downer.
No, go ahead.
Absolutely, that is one game I have LSU losing next season. The defense has got to prove to me that they are appreciably better than last season. Lane Kiffin always on the cutting edge offensively. They have a great running back. They throw the ball all over the field. Great offensive scheme. They know how to isolate quarterbacks, let's just say, with a lack of experience. Let's put it nicely. So it's going to be tough. Look, can LSU win that game at home? Absolutely. I was at Tiger Stadium a couple years back when Ole Miss was ranked inside the top 10. LSU spoiled that day for them and did it handedly. So does LSU have enough playmakers to put points on the board against Ole Miss? Absolutely, I agree. Will the offense take a step back? You're going to have to give Coach Sloan a little bit of time to get his play calling down.
I think we one notch down.
His first time calling plays in SEC. New quarterback in Nussmeier. He's going to throw absolutely more interceptions than Jaden Daniels did. He's more of a gunslinger. He's going to air it out. But LSU is going to have to prove in that first game here in Vegas, September 1, Southern Cal, that they're a different team defensively than they were the last two seasons.
I think for this to happen, they've got to be one or two notches better defensively. And look, so when you're watching a football game, remember Sean Payton, about as big as this iPad, even bigger, with offensive plays, it's huge. Defensive plays are two index cards together. It's not big of a defensive scheme. You're either 3-4 or you're a 4-3 defense. Or you could even be a 3-4-5, whatever. Or 3-4-4 defense. Whatever defense you are. And you can do things differently. I think their two edge rushers are going to be good, and I also think Perkins is going to be different this year. He's going to do the delayed blitzes. If LSU can bring, and this is just by fun because you never know what happens. If Nussmeier gets injured this year, game over. LSU's down, and they're not going to come back. But let's say, for instance, LSU's defense picks up one or two notches. Remember in 2019, they didn't have an unbelievable monster defense, but yet they still did enough to win. And by the end of the season, they kept getting better and better and better. The thing I get with Ole Miss, though, with Lane Kiffin is just too much of a gambler. He don't win big games. Look at everywhere he's been. The Raiders, USC, Tennessee. He doesn't win the big games. He hadn't beaten Alabama since he's been there. He has beaten LSU only at Ole Miss. He hadn't beaten them here at LSU. He just, to me, is too much of a riverboat gambler for him to be a championship-style team. That's why I think LSU can beat Ole Miss this year at Tiger Stadium. Then they go to Arkansas. We all know Arkansas is always a tough game. How crazy is this? The offensive coordinator for Arkansas came from Texas, and he was the former head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm drawing a name. He got in a motorcycle crash and wrecked his bike. He's back in Arkansas now as the offensive coordinator.
But Patino, what's his name?
Yeah, because I keep saying Rick Petrino. Is it Petrino?
It's something like that. Yeah, that sounds
right.
Right.
For some reason, I can't. I'm seeing his face. I can see his face, and especially when he got
neck brace on. His face is all scarred. That's exactly how I picture him too, Chris.
And he's back in Arkansas, but for the second year in a row. That's right, and everybody. He'll never go back to the NFL because the Falcon players were like, "Oh man, this guy is a wimp for leaving us like he did. He didn't tell anybody goodbye, didn't write letters to anybody, nothing. He just left." So anyway, the thing about it is, with him, he's going to be their offensive coordinator. So that's 2 years in a row. He's going to be there as an offensive coordinator. He was offensive coordinator last year at Texas A&M, and he's offensive coordinator at Arkansas. He's going to be gone 2 years in a row.
Bobby Petrino.
I knew it was Patino, whatever, Petrino.
Yep.
Yeah. But so I think Arkansas, I think LSU will win at Arkansas. I think LSU will win at Texas A&M, but that one could be a tricky game even more than anything. That's on the road. That's going to be at College Station. They're going to put that's the largest stadium in the SEC. That could be a big game. I think they win against Alabama here. I think also Florida could be a tricky game as well. And then you got Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. I think they win. So you tell me right there. So I think 8-0. What do you think? I think they can go 8-0. Again, don't know if they will do it. That's what the way predictions work. What do you think they can do?
I'm sitting 6-2 in the SEC. Originally, if things went well, LSU could finish with a final record of 9-3. If things don't go as well, maybe 8-4. You said if Nussmeier goes down, they don't win 3 games.
No. All their home games, all of their hard games, except for the USC games, though, they're all at home.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
This lines up perfectly for them. If Brian Kelly, if they can get that defense, again, it all depends. Offense has to drop just one notch. And like you said, he's a gunslinger. There's no question. Nussmeier's a gunslinger. He's like Brett Favre, thinks he can put a football, size of football, the size of this water bottle.
Yep.
And it doesn't happen that way. But I think that's the way that could work out in their favor. Let's look at Texas Longhorns' schedule. Texas, I think, goes undefeated. The only game they could lose, that Georgia game. If CBS had the game this year, that would be their night game. Texas against Georgia. Again, Oklahoma will have off before they play against Texas will have off before they play Oklahoma, but they will not have off before they play the Georgia Bulldogs. That could be in that Red River rivalry, could be an emotional drain on them, and that could possibly help Georgia win that football game on October 19th. That ought to be a primetime game more than likely. The times will come out sometime this summer. So I think they're going to win it all. Let's move on down the line. Let's show the Georgia Bulldogs schedule. I think they're going to win all of their games. The winner of that Texas Longhorn-Georgia game, I think, is going to control the SEC and be number 1 right there. I think that's the game right there everyone's going to have scheduled. The winner of that game will take first place in the SEC and will not relinquish it. I think they will stay with that. Let's move on down to the Ole Miss schedule. Now, here we go. So, Ole Miss, you got them beating LSU at LSU, but what about when Georgia plays at Oxford? Do you think Lane Kiffin can win that big game?
Nope. Ain't gonna happen.
That's the answer that Sean Payton gave when they asked Sean Payton at the NFL owners meetings, do you regret letting Russell Wilson go? Nope. Just like that. That's how fast Jonathan was with that nope. Nope. I think they lose at LSU, and I think they also lose against the Georgia Bulldogs as well at home in Athens. Alabama. Now let's look at Alabama. 4-4. I had Alabama losing 2 games last year. They didn't lose 2 games until the end of the year, their playoff game, but I had them losing 2 games last year a lot earlier than what they did. They have a tough game when they go to Wisconsin. That's not an SEC game, but winning at Camp Randall Stadium is going to be difficult for them. So then I've got their first game of the year is against the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, you know Nick Saban's not going to go far because you know game day is going to be there, rematch of the SEC title, and Georgia's going to want to pistol whip them for what they did at the SEC title last year. I think Georgia wins that game by 10-plus points.
Agreed.
I think it's going to be unbelievable. So then they go to Tennessee. I think Tennessee will be a better team this year, and I think that they will lose at Tennessee for the second straight time in a row. I got them losing at LSU, and I got them losing at Oklahoma as well. That's why I got them at 4-4. I think they'll win that Auburn game. So that's what can happen. Again, what can happen? We're always giving – look, when Nick Saban goes on the game day for the first time, they're going to say, Coach, we need you to predict the games. He's going to say, predict the games? 1 play can make a difference. 2 plays can make a difference. I can't predict what's going to happen in the game, but he's got to for fun's sake. This is what can happen, I think, with the SEC this year. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Jonathan, thanks for doing everything you do. You did great. Alan, good job. Marty, good job. We'll be back again next week right here as we talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV. Have a great one, everyone.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the